Hey, this is Brother Tim with your Civic Corner. Look, guys, we just experienced the inauguration, which is the transfer of power. That was on January the 20th. And by now, you have seen a new administration get ushered in. And look, this is this is the America that everybody. I should say it like that. This is who won the election, and for whatever you feel about it, we have to be okay with what's going on for the next 4 years. Now, you might say, well, what can we do about it? There's a lot we can do about it. These first 2 years, as I said in our last episode, will probably be the hardest because there's one party that runs the executive branch and one party that's running all of Congress, and we have a very conservative Supreme Court. So on our first day in this new administration, we've seen a flurry of executive orders. And you might say, well, what do these mean? What do these do? Executive orders are basically prerogative of the President of the United States of America. Sometimes they're just like what a state governor can do. They have executive orders that govern the state. But these orders are very, very important. They can be challenged in the courts. Some were already challenged the first few minutes of them being announced. That's how fast some people work. But it's really important that we understand each of those orders. He made a lot of them. And we have to really sit down in our communities and really talk about some of them. A lot of them dealt with very, cultural issues, social issues, taking DEI and things that would support our community out of the government, and not really make that a top priority like they were in the last administration. So some of them were just rolling back everything that the last administration did. That was an executive order. But we just really, really, really got to sit down in our communities and talk about what just happened, and talk about it open and honestly, and really, discuss what we can do in our communities and our capacities, because a lot is changing and a lot is changing fast. If some of our friends are immigrants that came over, some of them are not. Some of our friends are not documented or what have you, and they're frightened today. They're frightened. They're going to be frightened for the next couple of years because of what is being talked about. So we should definitely really pay attention, and that's what I wanted to come to talk about today. Is that we can't sit down in our despair. We can't just say, well, I'm not going to watch this or I'm not going to listen to that, but we got to really keep our eye on the administration that is currently in office, for a lot of reasons, but more so we know what's going on and know what's coming up or know what could happen. And so that's going to take a lot of research on our behalf. Just, we all use Google. We all use our phones for everything else. Let's start researching what's really going on. Project 2025 was a big thing during the election season. Some of these things were implemented on day one, minute one, day 1, minute 20, day 1, hour 4. It just really was being implemented right in front of us. And so we can't take our eye off the ball. Now, and we just can't sit down and just be scared about what's going to happen next. We have to really act, because before we know it, it could get out of control. And so also, this current administration made history in that they came back into power after not having power for 4 years. So that was not a consecutive term. The second term wasn't a consecutive term. So, and that hasn't happened for over 100 years. So that's really important to know that last time it's like a parent with their first child. You have your first child, you don't know what you're doing, you get help from everywhere, and you definitely hope for the best. But when the second child comes, you're a little bit more disciplined. You know what to do. You know the ropes. Of course, a different child, but you know what to do. You know how to govern. And here we are, this second time around. There's a more disciplined team around the current president, and that spells disaster for certain communities, certain ideas. But that doesn't mean it's the end of the world. It's just that it just means that we have to pay more attention because the wheels are a little more oiled. The engine is a little more revving really well, and so to speak. And I just think that again, we can't take our eye off the prize. Now, the next 2 years, like I've said before, are going to be the hardest because the laws will get passed a little bit more easier because the party in power has both chambers of our U.S. Congress. So we need to really be focused there. On a local level here in the state of Virginia, we have a governor's race that's coming. And so we have to pay attention to that. All eyes will be on New Jersey and Virginia, especially Virginia because we're considered a swing state, meaning in presidential elections we might go this way, we might go that way. Jersey is a little more predictable. So on a state level, they're going to be looking our way to see that, is this a referendum on the current administration's work? This election is some months away. And so by then, we would have seen some ramifications of the current administration on a national level. And so this might get reverberated on our level here in Virginia. So some key things to watch is this governor's race and our General Assembly race. And then, of course, we'll be right back up in 2026, which is next year, with the congressional race. So just so much going on in the political world, and it might just exhaust you, but we can't be exhausted. We got to keep moving. I know we all have our own jobs, and we got kids in school. We want to chill on the weekends, but I think we should definitely add in just being a little more politically involved and active, getting a dose of that each day, because that's what a democracy is. It's active citizen participation, and it always amazes me. I was what got me into government, or the interest in government, put it that way, was how do we as people govern, give our power up to others to govern, to run the government. We really gave this power to these people, and we trust them to do the right thing. And of course, over the years, things have not worked out, and things have worked out. But it's still, we choose this form of government, and we have to participate. We have to vote. We have to be involved. We have to stay informed. And so that's what I encourage all of us to do in this moment. I know it's a shock, and I know this second time around, it's a shock to most people. But it is what it is, as we say in our community. But there's a lot that we can do about it, and so I encourage everybody to just stay involved, to seek out information that you trust, to ask if you don't know some things that are going on. Just ask, what is this? What is that? Because we just can't fall by the wayside again. Some people feel that way, but we have a big country. A lot of people did vote for this administration, but everybody came to the table voting for whatever reason they came. A lot of people came when the economy was on top of their mind. So let's see if the economy gets better. And then, of course, in 2028, we'll see if all the promises that were made were kept. And not everybody, can keep all their promises. There's a lot of things that happened over a 4-year term that may not be technically the president's fault or the last president's fault. It's just some things happen, and the way they affect the economy are sometimes unpredictable. But we do want to go into the right direction. So, of course, I joined the chorus of people who, we wish that the people in power do mind their jobs right and do their jobs right. And we hope they, hope they keep the country in mind when they take action. But we also have to call out and make them accountable when they don't. And so that's just what we need to do, and where we need to be, and the type of mind frame we need to have. We just cannot say, man, I didn't vote for this person, man, this is crazy, man, and complain and not actually do anything about it. Because sometimes that's how people get back in power by folks sitting out, folks not wanting to do this, or, making perfect the enemy of good sometimes. And so I just really encourage everybody today to really, really, really stay involved. And I also urge all the listeners to, there's a lot of noise. There's going to be a lot of noise. I can't stress that. Last time the noise was, I would say, like a person just, like bumper cars, person just bumping into each other. The man did not know what he was doing. And there was a shuffling of advisors in and out, people getting fired, people quitting, people upset. I really think this time around you won't see a lot of that, and that's what I mean by there's a more disciplined team that was put together like day one when he lost the last time. So that's how deep this is. His chief of staff has been by his side for quite a while. The chief of staff that's there now, that's been named, she's been around politics, Republican politics, but again, she's been around him for a while, since the last time he lost. So there's a lot of different hands in there that are a little more seasoned. So that's why I don't think you'll see as much of that. But what you will see a lot of is some of the stuff we seen last time. The saber rattling, the really wild proclamations of this and that. I mean, one is we're changing the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. Something that's so that's geographical. And there's reasons why we call it the Gulf of Mexico versus the Gulf of America. So, taking the Suez, taking the Panama Canal, taking Greenland, sovereign of another country. So there's a lot of things that has a lot of shock value, and we got to read into that. We got to read past that. We got to just listen past that and see what's really going on here, and go behind the headlines, and again, do our own research. Can we do the things that he say that he's trying to do? Is it feasible? What is even why is it even being brought up? So these are the kind of questions that we have to really just kind of fact check every time we hear something crazy, because we're going to hear them. But I think what I want to warn is the fact that it is crazy, that we think it's crazy when we first hear it, doesn't need to turn us off. Because when somebody's in power and they say, oh, well, we're going to go take that and we're going to go take that, you need to listen. It's like your mom says she's going to take that phone, or she's going to, take your car when you're young, whatever the thing is, you're going to listen. You're going to be like, whoa. So, the president of the United States has so much power, not only in our country. He has a lot of, the office has a lot of influence around the world. We've already been taken out of different treaties that we said we would stay in, climate change and this, that, and the other. By the stroke of a pen, it's gone. We're not in it no more. By the stroke of a pen, there was pardons of 1,500, up to 1,500 people who were, convicted of, storming the Capitol on January 6th in 2021. Is no longer. Let them out of prison, let them out of jail, for stuff that we seen on camera that happened. Stuff that was recorded on their own cameras when they went up into the Capitol and storm the Capitol. So again, the office has a lot. The cancellation of all the cases that were pending, still in the system, just wiped out. So again, the office has a lot of power. The office has a lot of power, and so we have to pay attention to everything that comes out of this administration, whether they've done it or they're thinking about doing it, and kind of get ready. Again, I said one executive order was already challenged minutes after it was announced because they knew it was coming down the line. So they had their lawsuits ready. So that's kind of how we have to be in terms of making sure that we're really informed. Is to, when you hear stuff on social media, go fact check. I mean, I already had people texting me about child support. There's something going around right now online about the current administration wants to make the person who's paying child support the person who can claim the child, on the on their tax returns, since they're paying child support. So in our community, we know usually the person paying child support is not the person that probably has the custody of the child. So that might make a lot of people upset, right? So again, but the veracity of all these claims, they're running around, has to be looked into to see if it's true or if it's not true. Because we'll run off and say, we're getting another stimulus check, or we're getting this, or we're getting that, and people get their hopes up, and or this is coming down the pike. You might not believe it, and then it actually happens. So again, it can work both sides. So we really have to just stay really vigilant. We really have to stay really vigilant and ask a lot of questions and research as much as we can, and because the media will not show everything because there's just so much going on. They're only going to show the highlights. They're only going to show the shock stuff. But we have to be able to read for ourselves, and that takes a lot of discipline and takes a lot of work. But I think we can do it. And that's part of being a citizen in any country. But that's what citizenship is all about. That's what civics is all about. And so I appreciate you guys listening today. And of course, shoot us questions, comment down below, ask us questions. We want to be able to point you to the right direction. But this has been a great. My name is Tim, again, with Brother Tim with your Civic Corner. Appreciate you, and again, stay involved and stay informed.